Welcome to Two Chicks and a Horror Flick, a weekly horror movie review podcast. I'm Tawny Rea.
And I'm Felicia Connor. Subscribe to get new episodes every Wednesday. We dive into trivia, drink a little whiskey, and of course, give our no BS opinions.
Join our Discord server or message us on social media to talk all things scary.
And if you like the show, consider supporting us on Patreon.
You can find all these links on our website, twochicksandahorrorflick.com. Thanks for listening.
Now let's get scared.
Hello! Welcome back to our podcast that we don't have to say the name of anymore because it's in the introduction. How is everybody doing? Good, I hope. Felicia, how are you?
I'm doing great. We're all healed
Better,
over
hopefully.
here. Yeah, we're all healed over here from the COVID. And I had some dental work, so I was resting this week, resting my jaw, but doing much better. So I'm happy about that. How about you?
Good. I hope you don't have any more illness or anything. Dental work, illness, nothing for the rest of the year. You've paid your dues. You're done. Hopefully it's over.
Me too. I hope so too.
I've been good. Just chilling, getting back into the swing of things with going back to work this week.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What are you drinking?
I am drinking water. Big jug of water. I still am on like the antibiotics and the pain medicine for my jaw, for my dental work. So just drinking water to be safe.
Well,
How about you?
I'm drinking a like very basic old fashioned kind of with some whiskey. So I have some Four Roses with bourbon in there because it's still out of Buffalo Trace over here.
Nice.
So that's what I got. Yeah, and today
it's an old fashioned, or is it just whiskey neat?
Kind of. No. I put some ice that melted, so there's some water in here. No, water, and then sometimes when I'm feeling real lazy, instead of making like a true old fashioned, I just dump a little bit of cherry juice in there.
Nice.
That's why it looks so red. I just put some ice, dumped a little cherry juice, and that was it. I swirl it around, I drink it.
Nice. Okay, so I thought that was like some real sweet, like rosé or Zinfandel or something like that.
Yeah,
the color of
it. It looks like, yeah.
So we are just getting sparks of our smell and taste back. And I was able to smell Steve's whiskey last night.
Oh,
so
good.
we're just getting those little, he's been drinking his cheaper whiskey because he can't really taste it or anything.
That makes sense. Yeah. Got to be smart about it. Can't drink the expensive stuff while you can't actually taste it.
Yeah, exactly. That's a waste.
Yeah.
So what have you... Oh, what were you going to say?
Well, I was just going to say to our listeners that Felicia was a guest on the Horror Movie Crew podcast and was the first in a series, Cocktails with the Crew, right? Is what it's called?
Yes.
And it was a very great episode. I listened to it and it was very funny.
Oh, I'm glad you liked it.
Laughed joyfully that Josh didn't know what a whiskey neat was. And that was very funny. And I heard the whole conversation about Midsummer. And I just want to say I'm here for turning the tides for Josh. I had a whole realization that maybe we don't need to get into now, but we should talk about later, maybe with Josh, while you guys were talking about it. And I was like, okay, I'm getting why I like this and why there's like such a through line in this movie. Anyway, I'm just saying, go check it out on their podcast because it was really fun. No agenda, no outline or anything. It was just them like shooting the shit. And it was really, really fun to listen to.
Oh, I'm so glad. It was a blast to do. It was so much fun. I can tell you, I haven't even told Josh this yet. My husband, several of his cigar group buddies listen to our podcast. And since we've had Josh on our podcast and we've been on theirs, they listen to Horror Movie Crew as well. And one guy says to my husband, can you just imagine this? I'm really worried about Steve. I think that we need to get him some medical attention after listening to cocktails with the crew
Oh, yeah,
with his wife.
Yeah.
And Steve was like, what? And he sent him a recording of me talking about his sleep apnea. So I said, okay, but this is why I mentioned it. And this is why, and I was telling him and he was laughing. And then he goes, oh yeah. And I guess you told him about a real estate agent. The neighborhood drama. And I was like, fuck. I said, but I didn't use names. I didn't use any names. And so he's getting these details from his cigar group buddies because Steve hasn't listened to it.
Oh, man. That is funny. That is just so good. It was a great episode. Really, really fun to just like listen to like nothing but you guys shooting the shit. I feel like there's so many funny moments.
Cool. It felt really fun. It was really enjoyable to do. It was really relaxing. Josh is fun, as you know, to because you have to interview with and chat with. It's so chill.
Yeah, super fun.
Cool.
Okay, what were you going to ask? Oh, what have I been?
I was going to ask, what have you been watching, listening to, reading, whatever you want to share?
Like nothing. I mean, I'll say that I'm reading the A Court of Thorns and Roses series, and that's good. That's it. That's all I've been doing. What about you?
I am not a whole lot because I've been resting a lot, but I did with my oldest girl, watched all of Queer Eye, Texas. So the new one. Love. Yeah. We just love. I just so love those guys. They're just
the whole thing is like loving. The most wholesome.
Yes. It's just so loving. And we cry and it's joyful. And so I love it. We've, so that's what we watched. And I've watched Encanto about 150 times. We watch it about 2 to 3 times a day. TT knows all the words. So then she also sings and performs for us. So yeah.
Fun.
Yeah.
Repetitive.
Very repetitive, but I'm like, even driving to school, we're listening to Encanto and singing, jamming out. It's really sweet. It is a sweet movie.
Okay.
Still,
I've heard good things.
A lot of watching that movie, but the same thing happened with Luca. Watching that every single day.
Yeah. We did watch a couple episodes of Queer Eye. Love that show. I was telling Jade, I was like, this is like quintessential, like American, what I feel like should be American reality TV. It's like fun and wholesome and makes you tear up a little bit. Just, really good.
Oh, I cry. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, they're so loving, these guys. And it's the epitome of it's the epitome of doing compassionate good work. Each of them have their own space, right? The cooking or the hair care, the whatever. And you are helping a person love themselves and do everything they need to do. Like if it's with their dress and their hair, they're oftentimes looking at themselves for the first time and saying, oh, I'm pretty. Or I'm attractive, when they have years and years of hiding themselves. And then cooking, being able to do things and like, cooking good, this is hard, and opening up that world to them. And then of course the space that they're living in. And it's just, I was going to say, I don't know, but I do know. It's just fucking great. It's just so pure compassion. And I love those guys. I love them. And there is a Lego set of the Fab Five.
Oh, really?
And I want it. Yeah, I do. I want this Lego set.
Like little mini ones? Or?
Yeah, Legos. An actual Lego set of their their place they're staying. I don't know which place. I don't know if it was Texas or where, but like their loft or whatever. And then all the little guys.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I follow them all on social media. I just love them. Yeah. But anyway, okay, we're over it.
Moving on from Queer Eye to what we're talking about today, which is Caveat.
Yes.
Hard change. There was no way to make that bridge. Here we are. We're talking about Caveat. This is going to be a weird month. We got a really dark month happening. Bleak movies.
But we're excited about them all.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
I'm so excited to watch Martyrs and the Witch.
Yes. Yeah. Me
Maybe
too.
we need to upcoming mix in like Shaun of the Dead or something.
We need something.
Yeah.
I literally just in our last like year in review episode, I was like, I'm not really feeling anything dark. And here we are. Super dark movies.
We already committed though. We've already committed. I'm
excited. I definitely think I'm in a better headspace than I was in December. So I'm ready to tackle them in a way that I don't think I was maybe in December, because we were going to do Martyrs in December, pushed it. So I'm glad actually, because I think it's going to give me a different type of, I can just view it from a better place, I guess.
Yeah, I feel ready for it. I agree with you. In December, I was happy we didn't have 4 weeks of, the French extremity horror that I was really pushing for. And I feel like after watching all of Queer Eye, that I got like an IV of joy and compassion. So I'm ready now.
Fill yourself back up, ready for some bleakness. Me too. That's where I'm at too.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Oh, and I have one more thing to throw at you. So I missed a question on Instagram from someone because it got sent to my request because I wasn't following back. So I feel the need to make up. We need to answer this question because I missed it until way after. So Johnny Zuko on Instagram asked, in your opinion, what constitutes a great remake and what makes a terrible remake? Sorry, I'm putting you on the spot. I didn't even prep you for this. I just am throwing you the question. I can answer too if you want some time to think about it.
Yeah, so a remake, not a follow-up, like a legit remake of the whole thing, like say if they remade Pet Sematary, which they did, or something like that, right?
I think so.
Like a remake, not just like it's so hard because I would say a well done remake. Like I don't know what would be good acting. I'm trying to think. I think I do like them staying close to the original storyline, which hence my reaction to the remake of Pet Sematary where they switched it all up. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? You know what I mean? I did not enjoy that, but I might have if it was if it was better done. Maybe you should go first. Because you knew you were going to ask this question, so maybe you already have some ideas.
Yeah, I had some time to think about it a little bit. I think, in my opinion, what makes a great remake is taking something and either... I think it's hard because some people feel very much like you should just leave a movie alone. I don't know if I feel that way. I think things can be remade. Even if they're beloved, I think you can remake them. What I think are the most successful remakes are things where they take the original movie and they remake it, but they do something different with it. So either they make a different choice. Like I like Pet Sematary, the remake, for the different choices that they made. Mm-hmm. Or like I love the Evil Dead remake because they changed the tone. Mm-hmm. Like the tone was different in that one, even though it was the same like plot. They changed some stuff too, but you know what I mean? Or what was the other one I was thinking of? Rob Zombie's Halloween, right? Like same idea.
Yes.
But he chose to focus on the background of Michael Myers. And obviously the tone was different in that movie too versus the original. So I think for me, that's what makes it successful is when you take the idea and you change something up on it. Or I think you can expand on it. I like things that maybe necessarily aren't remakes entirely, but they expand on the world, like The Thing. Mm-hmm. A lot of people think that's a remake who haven't seen it. It's not. So it sort of, that's all I'll say to not ruin anything for anybody who hasn't seen it. But the 2011, I think, is when it was made. It sort of expands the world a little bit. And so I like that. And I think what makes a terrible remake is one where somebody just goes like, I could make that better.
Mm. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, I don't think the thought process is bad, but you have to change something. You have to give us something different, I think. Or the movie has to be like garbage to begin with. Like if you remade a garbage movie and you were like, I could do this better, and it is just better, great. But I don't think that's usually what's happening. Usually people pick movies that are like beloved and say, let's remake it. So it's like, I think Kara said this when we talked about Carrie, when she was a guest on our episode for Carrie. She didn't like the remake because she was like, it felt like a cash grab. I think that makes a terrible remake. Is if it feels like a cash grab. That's actually kind of how I felt about the Amityville Horror, the 2005 one.
Mhm.
That one felt a little bit cash grabby to me because it was very like, we talked about this in the episode. It felt like all the other movies that were coming out at the time. So it felt like they were like, what movie can we remake and make it seem like it's all these other horror movies that are coming out right now? Oh, we'll just Amityville Horror, Ryan Reynolds, boom, stuck them together. So that's my answer.
All right, I have the same answer as Tawny. And I'm not selling out. I totally agree because I agree with everything you said. I loved Rob Zombie's Halloween, but that's the thing. I got to see more of Michael Myers as a kid. I got to see more of his home life. I got to see and that's what I want as a huge Halloween fan.
Yeah.
And when you mention expanding worlds, like I want more of that. All we get in the original Halloween is he killed his sister. What about all of that other stuff? That's why I loved it so much. So you're absolutely right. I wouldn't want just a remake that's exactly the same. I'd want it to tell me a little bit more about the story. I 100% agree with that. Yeah, and I'm not against remakes. There's some, though, that originally, if they say, oh, I'm going to remake this, that is so great the original time that it does make me nervous. Like, why? I don't know. This is random because I just was looking at it earlier. What if they're like, let's remake Scarface? Fucking kidding me? It could be good, but like, you're really going to have to fucking make sure it's good. Like, what do you, I think I agree with you, Tawny. Like, what is it that's going to be different? Because the original was already fucking great. So how is it going to be different? What else are you going to show that's going to make me like this in addition to the original?
Exactly. Like you got to change it up enough so that it's a new thing and it stands apart, but you're not just redoing the original, you know?
Yeah. I agree.
Shot for shot remake, I think, is not the way to go. Unless there's some garbage movie out there that had so much fucking potential. I think we've said that a couple times. We've watched a couple movies where we're like, I wish somebody would remake this. And sometimes you do feel like, but those are never the ones that get remade.
Yeah.
You know?
Please remake High Tension with a different ending. Mm-hmm. So we can have both because some people love the ending. I even
think you could have had the ending had you changed up the shit in the middle.
Yeah.
You know?
So it was actually like, oh my God, holy shit. Yeah. I'm putting this out there. I would love for someone to just pretend that The Dark Half by Stephen King was never a movie, was never made. Let's pretend there's no remake. Just like, let's make this movie like it never happened, please. Because the book was phenomenal. The movie, from what I remember, I blocked it out. It was traumatizingly shit. So let's just approach it fresh. Don't look at the old one. Just let's approach it fresh. Make this movie, please. I'm very, very excited for this.
It's going to happen.
Please, please, please.
We're definitely having a Stephen King moment. So who knows? All right. Are we ready to jump into this movie?
Yes.
Okay. So we're talking about Caveat from 2020. The director was Damian McCarthy. And if you listen to our last episode, I've been dying to talk about this. I watched it in the beginning of October. So I've had many months to sit and think about this movie. So I'm very excited to be fucking talking about it with you. This is the first time in actually like a very long time that I am very unsure of what your opinion is going to be. I'm very nervous. Very, very nervous. It's been months since it's just been you and I, and there's been something that I'm like, God, I hope she fucking likes this. And so I brought my A game again on the research here.
Okay.
So, like I said, the director is Damian McCarthy. What you should know about Damien is that this is his first feature-length film.
Oh.
The only thing that he's done before this have been shorts. And in fact, this movie took years and years to make. They were in post-production editing for like 2 years.
Oh my God.
And so securing the financing was like the biggest problem, it seems like. There was a long time just trying to find somebody to finance it. So anyway, we can talk more about that later, but I just wanted you to know that. And he's a fan of horror. He likes horror. He wants to continue to do horror movies in the future. The next couple, he said he wants to do that. And then he maybe wants to branch out, do a little sci-fi, a little action. But he said, I'll always view it and look at it through the lens of a horror director. And his favorite few movies that he always seems to point to in terms of inspiration are The Thing, which is his all-time favorite movie. In one of the interviews I read, it said that he watches it once a month, every month.
Oh, wow.
For a very long time. And he also points to Ringu, which The Ring was based on, is a remake of, and Evil Dead 2. So, yeah. One of the interviews, too, that I read was like, that's interesting that there's a theme of isolation in all of those movies, and there is here, too. Anyway, we'll talk more about that later. Just trying to make you love and appreciate Damian McCarthy as a director and just have expectations of knowing that this is his first feature-length film. Anyway, so Rotten Tomatoes gave it an 83%. Letterboxd, which I just made an account on like over the weekend. No, last weekend, something like that. And Felicia, I meant to talk to you about this. You should totally get on there and make an account.
Okay.
I'm going to start tracking everything because in our last conversation that we, had about the year in review, I was like, there's no way for me to like record and retain and remember what I watched throughout the year. And I really want to have a place to do that. So Letterboxd allows you to, throw it in there and rate it and say that you watched it, put it on a watch list. It's really like nice and intuitive. So I like it.
I'll do it tonight.
Letterboxd, this is like all the people on there, I guess, who have given it a rating, give it a 3.2 out of 5. And 78% of Google users liked this movie. So the cast, we've got Ben Kaplan, who plays Mo Barrett, Jonathan French, who plays Isaac, Lila Sykes, who plays Olga, and I apparently didn't get who plays the mom.
The one other character.
Yeah, I know. There's really not a lot. I think that's why.
Way too many to list. Sorry.
I took a screenshot of it. Let's see. I'm sure I can find it real quick. Oh, no, it's not listed on the Wikipedia. Why? They listed the dad. Connor Duane is Olga's dad. Less of a character, obviously. Okay, hang on. I feel like I'm doing her a disservice. I gotta find her name. Inma Pavon. Pavon.
Okay.
Inma Pavon is her name. And the budget was really kind of hard to track down the budget, and this is estimated, was £250,000, I think.
Really?
Which translates to $340,000 US.
Wow.
But it seems like we don't have any solid figures. I think that's just an estimate. But yeah, that's really, really, really small. Like, not the smallest budget that we've ever talked about, but it's small, especially now.
Yeah.
And I think the box office is like $7,000.
Oh, no.
I know, it hurts my heart. It hurts my heart.
Was it released in a movie theater?
No,
I don't. 2020, it would have just been.
I don't think so. I guess I didn't see anything about a theatrical release. I think Shudder picked it up and put it on.
Oh, that's right. It is a Shudder.
Yeah.
You're right. It does say it's a Shudder original.
Just sad.
7,000? Really? That's
what
it?
That's what it said on IMDb. It was like estimated budget was, $340 US, and it says like box office is like 7,000.
Oh my God.
I know. So this is one of those times that I just forgot to do a 2 minutes with Tawny. So I can either read the Wikipedia page synopsis, or I can just wing it and give you like the quick description of what happens. What do you think I should try to do here?
Whatever you want to do. Might be fun to hear your synopsis, but I don't think I could do it because I think I would keep going back like, but I'm sorry, this happened too. Oh, no shit, this happened. Okay,
I'm going to try to wing it. And I'll just hit broad strokes here.
Okay.
So we've got Isaac as our main character that we follow. He has a memory problem. Something happened. He doesn't remember anything. So his friend comes to him, who knows him, and is like, hey, I got a job for you. I need you to come take care of my niece who is living out in this house. And he's like, okay, sure. He's going to pay him like $200 a day. He's like, whatever. Gets there. realizes that, well, the guy says, you're going to have to put on this harness in order to do this. And also she has some catatonic state that she goes in sometimes. So he fights it. He's like, I don't want to do this. But he eventually ends up doing it because without that, we would have no movie. And there's some creepy shit going on in this house. Not only is she catatonic and like puts her hands over her face for hours at a time, can't hear, can't see, supposedly anything. Some weird, there's a weird creepy bunny, which I'm sure you've seen on the poster if you looked this up at all. Potentially paranormal stuff. Shit gets crazy. Spoilers ahead, y'all. I mean, you should have turned back before now, but here we are. And he starts putting the pieces together and realizes that he is in a bad fucking spot because he actually came out to the house earlier to kill this girl's dad, who was already dead by the time he got there. So his friend, trying to tie up some loose ends, fucked him up. They don't really explain this, but you get the impression that he pushed him off a balcony. Mm-hmm. Didn't die, but has forgotten everything since. And the uncle and this girl's dad had killed her mom, who is a corpse in the basement that he finds. And then he finds a way out. The end. That about covers it, I think.
That about covers it.
That was a real rough first step. But I bet it took less time than reading the synopsis from Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Forgive me, everyone. All right. So with all that being said, I've already seen this movie, obviously. Felicia, how did you feel about this movie?
So I really, really liked this movie.
Okay. Yes.
It was really beautiful in the sense, like, it was dark and cold, and it just put you in a place of, you could feel it. You could just feel it. Constant dread. Just constantly. It didn't stop. And just waiting and confused in a good way. Not confused, curious. Because you're like, what is this all about? And you want to learn more. What the hell is happening? But not in a bad way. You understand what's happening, but you don't know what the secret is. What's the big aha?
Yeah.
And I really liked it. I thought the acting was great. It was creepy AF. It was dark. It was, I loved the ending. I just can picture the mom. And you're just looking at the corner, and all of a sudden she comes around the corner. It's fucking great. It was really great.
Okay. Oh, I'm so glad. I was like, Felicia might hate this movie for two reasons. Number one, the acting is a little shaky, I think.
I thought the acting was good.
I'm really surprised. I don't think it's bad, but I just sometimes when I'm watching through that critical lens of like, oh no, is Felicia going to like this? I'm extra critical of the acting. And I think actually for some reason, the guy who was the worst actor, I think was Ben Kaplan, who is the most famous of the people.
He's the brother, right? The uncle brother. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And which is weird because you'd think, but I don't know. The other two people do such a good job. I think especially the woman who plays Olga, Lila Sykes. I think her performance shines more than everybody else's, but they did a good job. They did a good enough job for you to be like, okay, sure, I'm with you. I get this. And then the other thing that I thought you wouldn't like is the just the series of decisions made that don't. You're like, why would you make this decision? But I think they do a good job of addressing that within the film. And so
I thought one of the things I loved a lot about Isaac is he made decisions I felt were smart. Like I felt, okay, well, first of all, the harness situation.
Let's take that off the table.
Yeah, because this is a no-go. I would be, and that fucking guy is not guilt tripping me into like, well, it's just normal. I'd be like, dude, fuck off. I'm not going to wear that. But whatever, he has to be in it. It's a very creepy, ominous thing. So I'm ultimately glad he put it on because I wanted to see how that played out within the movie, but it's like absolutely not.
Right. Yeah.
Unless they made more of a reason why he needs money, because they didn't really. He had his own place.
Yeah.
So he got out of the hospital, but it doesn't, we don't know anything.
Fucking hospital bills, bro.
Yeah, we don't exactly. We don't know anything else about him, if he has a job or anything like that, that he so needs money that he's like, okay, fuck it, I have to do it. That there was nothing like that in the story. So, but I really liked the decisions he made, like when the picture kept falling and how he turned it around. And then I was like, dude, I would not turn my back to that picture. And he didn't. He laid down on the bed and just stared at it until he fell asleep. Like all of those things he did, I thought were really good decisions. We had to get him in the vest.
Right.
So I am fine overlooking that.
Totally.
He was like, yeah, going out to babysit for $200 a day. And what else is he going to do? He didn't seem like he had much else going on. He's like, all right, I thought all of that made sense. Even some of the decisions afterwards, like when she shot him in the leg with a bow and arrow, and then he hid in the bathroom. Because I thought the same thing. I would just stay in the bathroom until daytime, until I could see better.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think all of the choices that he made, even though there are just a couple key decisions that are like, they're like a little iffy. But if you have to make that jump to get us into this movie, I'm okay with it personally, because the end result is really, really good. So I'm fucking whatever. I'm ready to overlook it. And I guess that's what the seedling of the idea was. Like he states over and over, because I went and read a bunch of interviews with this guy, even right after I watched it, because I was like immediately obsessed. I was like, this is fucking great. This is the first movie that I've watched that has really had an impact on me since probably Hereditary. Right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Like it's just been a long time since I've been like actually thoroughly creeped out. I had a hard time sleeping the first time after I watched it. I was like, really? I don't know. It wasn't like super everlasting scary. That's why I keep saying creepy, but it stuck with me, for at least a couple nights. I was like creeped out. Just the imagery is so fucking over the top good. Like I just was really impressed by a lot of stuff, but, yeah, it stuck with me. So immediately I started researching right after I watched the movie back, months ago. I was like, I want to know more about this person and what else he's done and what else he's going to do and stuff. And I was really shocked to find that it was I could tell it was low budget, but like so low budget. And it's his first outing as a feature film director, like all of that was really intriguing to me, and it made me like the movie even more. But one of the things that he continued to talk about is like, Guillermo del Toro says like, start with an idea of like imagery, like I want to show this thing, and then like build from there. So he was like, he constantly points back to being in a harness, like being chained in a harness and having, limited options to go throughout the house, and the imagery of the bunny being carried around by like a woman with like a bloody face, a bleeding nose or whatever. So those were kind of, I think, the two seedlings of an idea that he started with and kind of built from there. And I think there's a really good end result here. And apparently there was a lot left in this, or there was a lot in the original script. There was like a whole bunch of, dialogue. I think it was a lot more fleshed out. And actually I have a thing from him. He said, really nobody in the film is a solid person to lock onto, so it just made sense not to over-explain everything. When I look at the original script, for example, everything is explained. Before they leave the house, there's a good 10 minutes of dialogue of the actors going back and forth, and what it ended up as in the film is about 30 seconds to a minute and a half. Barrett hires Isaac, and they're straight off to the island. I don't know. I think it's better not to over-explain things. And he also mentioned how they screened that, I think, version for test audiences, and people were just like, no, just get us there, get to the island. And I think that's one of the things that this movie does so well, is it gives you just enough to be interesting. It doesn't over-explain or have like, exposition dumps which is really nice. But it's not so little that you're like, what the fuck did I just watch? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just enough. I think that was really well played. And I like how the script is very minimal. And like, I love this movie. I think the atmosphere is amazing. You were kind of pointing to that earlier when you were saying what you liked about it. The tension, the dread, the look and feel of everything, the sound. The lack of dialogue. Like, there's so much happening. I just think it was masterfully done in that way. There's some flaws in this movie, obviously. Like, I'm not saying that it's a perfect movie, but I just was like so fucking impressed with all of what was done on such a small budget. There was like 2 camera people, 2 sound people. Like, I don't know how big the rest of the crew, but it was like small, right?
Mm-hmm.
Super impressive.
Yeah, I think of a couple. I don't know if I like this or not. Maybe it's just fine. They don't explain that bunny. Like, why? But the bunny's great. It looks like a stuffed, decrepit, real rabbit, a stuffed rabbit.
Yeah.
This is what it looks like to me. And it like senses the mom's body, or it tells people stuff, or I don't even know what it does. They don't explain it, but it's cool. I love that bunny, and that click, 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 click is creepy. It's so creepy. And then the mom is just a spirit. Okay. I think it just like, it doesn't, but maybe that's fine, that it doesn't really explain like, this is how the bunny came about, or this is how this came about, and what it all means. It's just a situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just a messed up, creepy situation. Was the daughter in on it? Because how she was talking to her uncle at the end, it was almost like there was this pact between them that she was going to kill him, or maybe she knew something about her mom being killed. Maybe she was a part of her dad being killed. I don't know. There was kind of this feeling like I thought for a second, oh, she's in on this whole thing.
Yeah. I'll give you my theory. And I let me caveat that by saying I don't think it's entirely my theory, because again, right after I watched this movie, I went and read everything I could about it. I read forums and stuff, and I just, when I'm in that mode and I'm not like prepping for the podcast, I don't think about like, I'm going to need to source this at some point. So I apologize if some person out there in the world is listening to this and you made a comment on Reddit about this and I'm stealing your thought. I'm sorry. But I think I had read a couple things about this, and I feel like I, in my brain, had already started to have kind of an inkling, like the mom seems like she's a witch, right? Because there's this conversation that they have about the chimney, right? And she's like, my mom blocked it when she realized that there were birds living in it. And she obviously doesn't want to hurt those birds. She is a little weird, right? Like, we only see a little bit of her, but she's just a little off. And they have this painting in the house where a woman is standing with a bunch of foxes around her. I don't know if you noticed that. It's the big painting in the like living room area. So I kind of got from all of that she was some sort of witch, potentially.
And that circle drawing on all the black paper, she would just draw circles.
Yeah, that was maybe her kind of having a premonition or knowing, her end, because we open the movie with her cutting that circle in the drywall where her body is held. Mm-hmm. Or there's something there. Again, I don't know that it's like fully fleshed out, but anyway. I mean, I guess I don't know how that interacts with this next piece, but I got the impression that her husband and the uncle kill her. Yeah, they decide to kill her, hide her body in the wall, and then maybe the father of Olga starts to have a little bit of a breakdown, because Mo mentions like, he's saying some shit. He knows some stuff about me. We're gonna have to do something about him. He's a loose end. So I think he started to kind of panic, and I think the daughter Olga probably was pissed at him for killing her mom, and she's the one who locked the door. I think he got put down there.
Yeah, because he
she's
said,
the only one that was there.
Yeah.
Right? She's the only one that was there. So I think she locked it. So
she's the one that was so she's running around being like a fucking asshole to Isaac because you killed my dad. That's what my uncle said. No, bitch, you did. And she knows it.
Or maybe the mom's ghost like locked it. We don't really know. And that, again, that's never explained. And there definitely is a paranormal element to this movie. So I think both of those things are possibilities. But I think that's where we landed. And I think, you know, with him not freeing her in the end, you're like, yeah, I don't know. Does she deserve to be freed, or did she play a part in this? Who knows? You know?
Oh yeah, because he left her there and she just was standing there in that thing.
Yeah. And I
wonder too. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Just to continue on with my theory, I think that the mom's spirit was the one that was controlling everything. And the fact that I think what aids to this is that her eyes, you know, look so human, so still alive, but she's obviously been in that wall for like a while because the rest of her body is started to decompose kind of. Like she looks old, like she's been down there for a while, except for her eyes. And I think there's just something inherently supposed to be supernatural about that. And so she's somehow alive, whether it's in her body or as a spirit in the house or in that bunny or what, I don't know. But the bunny acts as like a beacon. Like it's like warning, you know, especially watching it the second time when I'm watching through this lens, it is leading Olga to her body. It's leading Isaac to her body.
Mm-hmm.
And it warns him when he's down there trying to saw the hole that somebody's coming.
Oh, that's true.
I mean, you could read that a couple of different ways too. It could have been warning, because I think it's Olga who comes down the first time and takes.
And he might be like, he's in here.
You don't know. But I like that. I like there's beauty in that. Like you could sit and think about it and like come up with different angles. But that's just my for now theory.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I buy it. I buy all of that. They don't really tell you anything more about the foxes. Is that just the foxes are there because they make that creepy sound like a girl screaming? It just adds to the eerie element that there's foxes all over this this island that make these creepy noises. All right.
I think so. I mean, you know, aside from the tie-in on the painting, and there's also, I noticed this rewatch that there is on the tablecloth that has foxes on it. So it's like a repeating element. I don't know if it means nothing, you know, again. Yeah,
because I feel like when I see stuff like that, I want to know what the meaning is a little bit more. They don't give that to you.
No. I mean, maybe there's like a fox. What is that saying? A fox in the hen house? There's a
fox in the hen house? Yeah.
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 And it basically means like somebody is fucking around. I mean, I feel like that's a really accurate portrayal of this movie too. So maybe that was part of it. I don't know. I really haven't read anything about this deeper story. And I don't know if it's because it didn't exist, which I think is possible. You know, I think but the fact that they put it on the tablecloth and it's in the painting and stuff makes me feel like there was some more thought put into it, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I loved the very opening scene with the girl and the bunny and it leading, and then the hole, she carves the hole and she's putting her face and it's just like your heart hurts. And then it just switches to the other hole on the front door of Isaac knocking. And I was like, oh my God, I thought that was fucking great. And I also loved the title scene where it said caveat. So Isaac says, there's got to be more to it. And then it goes caveat. And it had that writing. That was so great. I loved it.
Yeah.
I did say there's no fucking way I would have put that thing on unless it was to save my kid's life. And so that was helpful, though, to think through it. Because I'm like, no way. There's no way. There's no way. And I'm like, well, if it was to save my kid's life, okay, so everybody does have a maybe. Yeah, maybe I would do that for this situation. I just thought it was very interesting how he was going to go stay for no more than 5 days, but he didn't have he was literally just going to wear the same clothes for 5 days. He didn't even bring an overnight bag.
I know. I think that's one of the oversights that I have.
Nothing. They literally got in the car. He didn't even change of underwear.
There's like no food in that house, it seems like.
He's walking around this house. He's just like, yeah, I would have been like, what am I supposed to fucking eat? I would have had an overnight bag.
Yep.
I mean, like.
At least my toothbrush. At least. He can't even make it into the bathroom, right? Like, the chain doesn't even extend into the bathroom, so.
But he didn't even know that before leaving. Did he just,
Yeah.
he just assumed I'm not going to shower for 5 days, brush my teeth, change my underwear. And this is, I can't imagine you'd be there more than 5 days. It's not even a specific thing. It's not even like her for sure. That was weird. It's a small thing, but it was something I really noticed, like, what the hell? And then when he put the thing on him, I immediately could feel that, like, oh, that's claustrophobic. Being locked in that thing, even though we can walk around the house, that's claustrophobic. But then I thought, whoa, if he was even if he brought a change of clothes, he's like not able.
You can't. Yeah. I was thinking when I was rewatching it, how does this harness work? I couldn't remember how much it went around his body. I was like, is he even going to be able to go to the bathroom? I forgot about the scene where he goes to the bathroom but can't get in there. But yeah, and then I was thinking, how do you get out of that? Can you cut your way out? I mean, the chains are kind of a no-go, but maybe you could cut your way through the leather eventually. But again, that's a...
I thought
if he
that
could just
too.
cut through it, then
there was a glass on the kitchen table. And I
was thinking the drywall saw.
Yeah, the drywall saw.
Yeah, I don't think he saw it, though. I kind of excused that one because I was like, I don't know if he noticed that it was even there because it was stuck in the drywall. It could have looked like a knob or something. I don't know.
I love that he immediately thought of, well, after seeing the picture, there's another key around the mom's neck. I love that. And then he got down there. So was the plan that he was going to go in that suit and she was going to eventually kill him once she stopped having fits or something? Like,
I think so. I think that was Mo's way of tying up the last loose end, because even though he didn't remember, he could remember someday. And I think he thought that he could put him in that situation and have Olga kill him. And that would be a way to, again, wipe his hands of this, not be involved in any way, and not have it get back to anybody. I think that was the plan, maybe.
Yeah. Okay.
That's, again, just one of my first theory.
Oh, God. How about when he went to get the key and she broke his finger through the hole?
Oh, God.
And then he snapped it back in place.
Oh, so gross. This is one of those that you mentioned earlier. I like the repeating theme of like looking through the hole,
The holes, yeah.
We see it in the drywall, and exactly what you said, I wrote that down as a note. There's a match cut to Isaac looking through the, big peephole, and it made me laugh. I was like, that was funny,
It's like a compromising situation, because sticking your face in a hole that's just the size of your face and it's pitch black, anything could jump out at you, or reaching your hand in through a hole. You're compromised there. Like anybody could grab it, shoot it, cut it off, whatever, There's
an inherent tension in that, right? Like,
I guess it goes along with that claustrophobic theme.
Yeah.
Too, like the small spaces, the vest and the bathroom, the wall behind the bathroom that he climbs
eventually
out.
Gets into.
Yeah,
I liked that part too, because even watching his hand go through the thing is nerve-wracking. You're like, something's going to happen, and the tension, I think, is just built in a really good way all the way throughout this movie. But yeah, that is so gross, the crack of it. Ugh.
I love how I love this in movies, when I think, no fucking way, and then they give me a reason. I'm like, oh, I guess. Because when he got out of the house, I'd be like, I would sleep right there by the lake. I would just sleep by the lake till the morning. But then the next scene, it is so cold.
Yep.
He can barely move. And so I'm like, okay, that's why he went back in the house, is it's so wicked cold. And goes, back into the room and lays down. So anyways, I like that. I like when I'm like, no way. And then they go, yep, way.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay.
I also like that there is so many layers to why he can't just leave, right? Which is, again, one of the seedlings of an idea I think that Damien had for this movie, is like, he was like, I like when there's a reason that people cannot leave. And we have many fucking reasons. Number one, this guy has memory issues and cannot remember what is real or not real, who his friends are, none of that. 2, he can't fucking swim, and he's on an island. Okay. Yeah. 3, he's in a fucking harness in the house. So even when he gets free of the harness, he can't just swim across the water. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like there were so many layers to it that really kind of added. I think maybe, maybe there was one too many. I don't know. I can get on board with the fact that we maybe could have pared it down a little bit, but I liked that because, again, he's out there wandering in the woods. I don't think I picked up the first time that I watched it about the cold. I was, because I remember also thinking that I would just lay down in the fucking grass, cover myself, and just fucking wait for the sun to come up. But I don't think I realized that it was cold until now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. When he went back into the house and he got the hat and
freezing.
I think she was sitting there at that time at the kitchen table and he locked her up in the thing and he got the hat and he was trying to cover himself with his jacket and stuff like that. It was very cold. Man,
something that I love about this movie, and I'm sorry, I'm kind of switching gears here, but this reminds me, the whole time you're watching this movie, for the first time, I think, there's so many fucking questions and it really takes you on a fucking ride. You're like, what the fuck is happening? Who is right? Who is the bad guy? Is there something supernatural here? What's going to happen with this harness? Like, I remember being like, oh no, this is scary. And then I was like, oh no, like he's going to be hunted. And then he gets out of the harness and puts it on her. And I'm like, oh no, now she's fucking in danger. Like, it's just a roller coaster of a movie where you're like, because I didn't expect that to happen. I thought he was going to be in the harness and either never be able to get out or get out and just like run or something. I never expected him to put her in it. And that was like a new dynamic, now she can go places, but she's a fucking smart character too. Right. Yeah. So she gets that crossbow and now he's being hunted, even though she's the one who's limited in her ability to move throughout the house. I mean, it just was surprising, time after time, I was like, oh, I didn't think this was going to happen. You know what I mean? And then you get about 75-80% of the way through the movie. And you're like, oh shit, this is all unreliable unreliable narrators and mental illness. That's what this entire movie is about. There's actually nothing supernatural happening. Just fucking kidding. There is. There's this moving fucking corpse in the basement. And you're like, oh shit, everything I thought I knew is wrong. I love that reveal. I just was perfectly strapped in for this ride. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally agree. I loved how they had, how he did have memory loss, but you don't know he has any type of memory loss, right? You don't know that he's not complaining about losing his memory. He obviously knows this guy.
I feel like they planted a seed in the beginning. So I knew that he didn't remember, but that these two were friends.
Oh, see, I didn't catch that at all. I know he went to the hospital for some reason and finally got out of the hospital. But other than that, it was later when he said something about not remembering. And I don't remember when he said it. But when he had that whole scene where he was like, no, I've never been here with Olga. I've never been here. You call your uncle. You have the mental illness.
Yeah. Yeah.
You are the one that's misspeaking. And then his uncle's like, no, remember, blah, blah, blah. And I thought that he was lying, that he was trying to rile the girl up to kill him. And so I was like, that SOB. And then come to find out, oh shit, it's all true. He did actually go there to kill them, but he didn't do it. He didn't end up doing it. And then he wanted to. So I thought that was great. And I loved the mom.
Me too.
I loved when he put just those simple scenes of her face is creepy. It's alive enough, but also dead enough.
Yes.
Then he put the hat on and he's cutting and then he looks back and the hole is just right around her fucking eye. It was so good.
even rewatching, dude, I was like, I was actually not regretting. I was, what's the word? Dreading. I was dreading watching this movie again because of how creepy it was and how it affected me the first time. I actually was like, I kept kind of waiting until the end of the day. And then I'd be like, I need to watch that, but I'm going to wait until tomorrow morning. Like, that's how fucking creepy this was to me the first time. So I'd like do it again. I'd do the cycle a few times. So I watched it in like the early afternoon because I didn't want to watch it too close to the night, but I was so ready for those scenes at the end, because that's the gold of this movie. I mean, the whole movie is really great. And I feel like you don't really get the payoff without the slow burn at the beginning. But the gold is there in the last like 20 minutes of this movie. Just visually, and the tension and the scary parts are so fucking well done. This whole moment from when he goes into the fucking wall, because it opens all creepy slow, and he's like, oh, cool, I have a way out. And he starts moving through there and he sees her. I mean, before, when he sees her down there, creepy already. But that moment where you see her and she ducks, I will never get it out of my head, dude. I'll never get it out. It's so creepy.
I love how he's sawing, and then it switches to where the uncle is down there, and the sawing is still going on. And then Isaac is like, hey, I got out, blah, blah, blah. And you realize, oh my God, someone else is sawing and it's her. But you don't know for sure. You know, but you don't until they just sit on that corner of just the corner of the wall for so long. You're just sitting there waiting. And then here you go. She's coming around the fucking corner. It's so satisfying because that asshole uncle gets his comeuppance.
Yeah.
The mom gets her revenge. I don't know how to feel about the girl. So she's in the thing, but you still don't know how involved she is or not. So I didn't feel super sad she was still locked in there. But then Isaac gets away and he also rescues the dog.
Yes, yeah.
It's very satisfying.
It is very satisfying. Even though not everything is explained, you're like, okay, cool. You don't leave the movie feeling pissed, like, God damn it, what did I just spend an hour and a half watching? It's nice. There's a nice, like, I don't know, tie up on it. But I agree, that whole scene, the whole back part of the scene, makes you feel like that. Like, we've done that several times now. We're like, there's this like tension, there's this giddiness, it's close to giddy, where you're nervous and you're watching what's happening. Even watching it again, I knew it was going to happen. It almost heightened the experience because I was like, oh shit. The first time that we watched this, when you see her and she ducks behind those, like, the stairs or whatever, way down at the end of the thing.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
It's so fast.
You know what I'm talking about? So fast. Jade turned into a puddle. Okay. He is the most jumpy horror movie watcher of my life. I mean, it's funny. It makes me laugh. But he was like sitting up like a regular human being watching this movie, and he literally like ducked down onto the couch. It was effective. It was so effective. And then we're down there while he's cutting the hole, and she, you're talking about the scene with the beanie, because she's moving. You see her the first time and she's looking at the hole, and then he pulls the light back on her and she's looking away. And I was like, ooh, like, that's like that's the feeling of this movie.
Dude.
You're like, oh God, it's so suspenseful. So fucking well done. The lighting, I mean, just while we're on the topic, just the flashlight and everything back and forth between her and in other places. Sometimes that was their only source of light. They didn't light the scene and then have a flashlight. That was it. Like, the crew, the cast, they only had a flashlight in there. And again, I think this is one of this movie's flaws, is that sometimes there's stuff that happens that's a little muddy. Like, I can't really tell what's happening. Or I wish it was just a little bit more clear, a little bit more light, so that I can make sense of what's happening. But it's not enough for me to be super mad at it. I think the end result is good. And it's a gamble. But I feel like the lighting is really well done as well.
I think the only time where I got a little antsy was when he was in the bathroom. This sort of, I didn't hate it because we were getting a lot of memories, which I liked that, seeing what happened before and him realizing, like, when he said, that's my brother's jacket. I'm like, how does she have his brother's jacket? And so I was curious. But it was starting to feel a little long there. And I was like, okay, where's the movie going? But then he found that way out, and then it started to pick up again. And so it was a very small part. It didn't affect my experience, but I just remember at that point feeling like, okay, now where are we going with this?
I agree. Especially the second time, knowing what was going to happen, that was the moment that it drug for me.
Okay.
It's like I knew, I knew the background. So I think the first time it didn't bother me, but this time I was like, okay, come on, let's move it along. I think aside from that, though, the movie is very well paced. And everybody that I've talked to about, everybody I've talked to since watching this, I have told them, go prepared for a slow burn. It's a slow burn of a movie.
Yeah, for
But then
sure.
when I rewatched it, I was like, it wasn't that slow. I mean, it's slow. You don't really get any answers or anything for a long time, but I feel like the pacing is well done, where there's enough there's a breadcrumb, to keep you watching, keep you involved in it.
It's definitely a slow burn, though.
Yeah.
Maybe not slow in a negative sense, like that movie was slow. It didn't keep me interested. But there's this, or building dread, actually, I would prefer to say. It's definitely a building dread throughout. And you just get enough tidbits and enough creepiness and enough movement to keep it going along.
Yeah. So let me tell you about this bunny, because I have some stuff on that and like production stuff in general. So the bunny, I guess the mechanism, he said, this is like from an interview, he said the mechanisms were so old that you'd say action and he was supposed to drum, but just one of his hands was drumming. So you'd have to like open it up, find which wire is broken, and one of the plastic cogs in his arm had cracked. He was the most difficult actor that we had in the film for sure. And actually, he doesn't work anymore. Now he's completely broken. The last time he drummed is in the film. It's when Lila Sykes, who plays Olga, is coming down the stairs and he's drumming in the dark. We did it and it worked. And we had the take and I said, okay, let's just get one more just in case, just for safety. And I said action and he refused to drum. That was it. Oh. He never worked again.
I hope he has that thing like in a shadow box. Or something. Oh, cool.
He does. All of these interviews that I've watched with him or read through, he has it like on a shelf back behind him.
That's cool.
Yeah. And I guess he got it on eBay. So he had done a short.
Who the fuck? I want to know the story behind this bunny.
Oh, well, hold on. Yeah. Because he got the original bunny on eBay and had pulled all the hair off of it. Like I think he had done a short before this that had wind-up toys. And actually, I watched a couple of his shorts. It might have been for one of the ones I watched. There were a couple of wind-up toys in one of these. But he said he pulled all the hair off, but it didn't look scary. He like wanted it to be a demented looking thing. So he gave it to the prop woman. I should have written down her name. I'll find it too. But she took like a stab at it. He gave her a bunch of references, specifically from this movie called Alice that was like a Czech movie from the 80s that I have actual images that I will share that we can put on our Instagram or whatever. That he was like, it was like a stop motion type thing. And he was like, this always disturbed me from when I was a child. And so he gave those images and some others to her and said like, make it look like this. And she did a fantastic job. And I guess even then he still had tufts of fur on it, but they fell off because it took so long to get the movie financed. Like it just like sat around and shedded the whole time. So by the time they actually went to shoot, it was completely bald. But I'm sure they did, some serious work to make it look as creepy as it does. But it was a real bunny.
A taxidermy bunny?
No.
Is it like a stuffed bunny? Oh, because it looks like it.
Yeah, no, I think it's a battery operated or a wind up.
Oh, duh.
Toy.
That would have been hard to put in the wind up stuff in a real dead bunny. But it looks like it. That's what makes it creepy.
It does. The texture and everything on it is.
Yeah. Looks like an old taxidermy bunny.
Mm. And I don't hate it. Sometimes I think when I look at dolls or whatever that are made for horror movies, I get annoyed. Like Annabelle, I think to me is over the top. I'm like, this thing was fucking made to be scary. I mean, so was this thing, but this bunny looks like it sat around for like decades decomposing. That's what I think makes the difference is this. Yeah. This thing looks fucking gross and ancient. Versus Annabelle, who looks like it was made to be scary.
I agree. Yep.
Okay, so while we're talking about just production stuff, they made most of the sets. So he said, I'm from West Cork in Ireland. from Ireland. I don't know if I told you that earlier, but
no, you didn't. I love him even more now.
Where he's from. And there are a lot of abandoned houses around here, so I began checking them out. There was a lot of peeking into windows, but nothing suited. It wouldn't have been practical to move a crew there, and it wouldn't have been very nice conditions. So in the end, we actually ended up building 70 to 80% of what you see in the film, and we just incorporated 1 or 2 rooms that we had found nearby.
Oh, interesting.
So they really like fucking Frankenstein some shit together because, you know, in the movie they go to an island. They didn't shoot on that island either. They just shot those shots to be like, we're going to this island. And then they got, you know, a handful of shots in these real rooms. And then the rest of it they built themselves. So
it's so cohesive. That's just amazing.
I think they did a good job overall. Yeah. There were definitely.
I loved the location. The set was so ominous, dirty, and cold. It's the first thing I started with when we started talking. You felt like you were there. For sure. I think the set design is amazing. I mean, that wallpaper in the hallway leading up to her bedroom and stuff too is just amazing. It's all red and falling apart. The whole house is in, you know, disrepair. It's so creepy. I love that. But there were some moments, this is another one of those flaws in this movie that I felt I could tell were muddy. You know, like, I mean, I guess I shouldn't say I could tell, but watching it, I'm confused. Where is he in the house? Yes. Where is this in relation to this? You know, you can definitely, I think, sense that just as a viewer, that you're sort of lost in where stuff belongs. Like his 100%. Room, where he's down there with the painting. It's like, where is that in relation to anything else in this house? It seems like it's in the basement, but it's not in the basement. That kind of stuff. There's a couple shots where he's sitting in the doorway looking at the dog in the beginning. Yep. And the shots into the house show very clearly that he's not in a hallway, but the shots out of the house show that he's in a hallway. It's this kind of stuff. Yes. Yeah. That just feels muddy. Even when he's walking around the house, I do remember having a moment where I'm like, where is this hallway? Dude, this house is fucking huge. Yeah. There are like so many rooms and so many, but then you get the feeling between the kitchen and that living room area where there's the fireplace that it's very, very small. But I got the same feeling. I had that at the time. Doesn't ruin it though. They do a good job. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's enough. It's enough for you to not, I don't think, be taken out of the movie. There's maybe like a question as you're watching. Where are we? What's happening? But it's not like, it's not so extreme that you hate it, you know? But again, I mean, that's just the nature of a super low budget movie. Like they just had to build most of this, you know, and shoot where they could. Yeah. So overall, well done. I should have said this earlier when you were talking about the foxes, but he did in one of these interviews mention in Ireland here, you know, that's where the idea of the banshee comes from. It's the sound of a fox screaming or crying. Oh, okay. So there's that supernatural element. It's not completely clicking, but I feel like I'm one step closer to that meaning of the foxes. Yeah. That's definitely like a banshee that, oh, okay, now I want to research banshees. Something supernatural. Yeah. Now, oh, sorry. I was just saying, now I want to know what the banshees stand for. Right, go ahead. It's probably loosely related. I don't know if it's, you know, super well thought out here. But the last thing that I have just as far as trivia, because there actually wasn't a lot. Like you're hearing me continue to talk about these interviews I read. I had to read interviews and watch interviews to glean this information. On IMDb, there's like one piece of trivia, which I didn't even put in here because it's not that good. So all of these are like quotes from him. But I thought, I'm going to read you 2 quotes, actually. Okay. The first one, I thought you would like this specifically, and this was my last ace up my sleeve to make you like this movie in case you hated it. But I don't need it because you liked it. But he was talking to somebody and he said, I guess what scares me is if I would find myself in a situation where I'm alone and I see something I can't explain and am forced to question if it's really there or am I losing my mind?
I find that quite unsettling, and I try to explore that in the stuff I write. It's all internal. It's characters on their own trying to process what's happening to them.
Yes, I love that. You're right.
So to continue that from a different interview, he said, let's say if a group of characters were together and something strange happens, they could turn to the person next to them and say, did you see that too? Then they've got that reassurance that it's actually happening. But when a guy is on his own, especially a character like Isaac, who clearly has some kind of memory gap, it's just up to him to say, okay, is this my mind playing tricks on me? Or is this very strange thing actually happening? I think it's a real primal fear that you're alone, you're in this place that you're not familiar with, and your mind can play tricks on you. For me, that's a huge part of this type of haunted house horror subgenre.
Love this man.
Hallelujah.
I totally agree with everything you said, because that's what scares me the most too.
Yeah.
And he depicted that perfectly in this movie.
I feel like that's probably, I'm really reaching here, but I feel like that's probably what resonated with you and why you like it.
Yeah.
Despite the shaky acting, despite the stupid choices, because there have been times that we've watched movies that you're like, what the fucking fuck? No. But here we do have this element of losing your mind. And I think the choice to make him not remember his life previous is so smart, because you're immediately plopped in and he's supposed to be your protagonist and you're questioning everything. You're like, what's happening? But I'm going to trust this guy who's my friend. And actually I have proof that he's my friend because I have this photo of us together. You know?
Yes.
What are you supposed to trust if you cannot trust, if you don't have any memories, you have to be like, okay, well, we were friends. Obviously I'm going to trust this person, which is, I think, why you can kind of get over the mental hurdles of, why would I go out there with him? Why would I strap myself in this harness? You'd constantly be weighing that against, well, I don't remember a goddamn thing. This is one of my friends. He's not going to do anything to hurt me, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yep.
Then you've got the whole, rest of the movie to be like, am I losing my fucking mind? Nobody's here except for me and this girl who obviously goes catatonic sometimes. I don't know if she's the most reliable person either.
Yeah, when he was in the wall with the mom, same thing. So she's looking at the hole, right? But he's obviously in a very distressed state. He's trying to escape. His leg has been shot. He's in a tremendous amount of pain. So when he looks back at her and she's looking straight ahead and not at the hole, and he pauses for a minute, you can almost hear him thinking, was she like that before? And not sure if she was like that before. He's sure of it when her fucking eye is poking out of the hat like that. But even then you might question yourself. Did I put it on that way? When I put that thing on her head, the hat, did I put it on that way and I just didn't notice?
Totally. Well, and again, you're like distressed. She hasn't fucking eaten anything, like we talked about earlier. There's no food. How many days has it been?
His teeth hasn't been brushed.
I don't even know.
He's wearing the same underwear, folks. So
definitely losing it. Definitely losing his mind. So you would be like, is that real? And I don't know. I think there's so many pieces to why this movie works.
Yeah.
And in some, like I said, some moments it gets a little muddy. I think maybe it could have been edited a little bit more, but I can appreciate the fact that he just did this. Like, even he has said, like, I've gone back and looked at this movie and said, even in the process of editing, he was like, oh, I should have done this or I should have done that. And I just appreciate this person just as a human being, because all of the stuff I read from him, these interviews, make him seem like such a regular human being. He's like, oh, I got into the edit and I thought I could have done all this differently, but he's like, I'm just going to take that to my next movie, and even when they finally got the funding to come in, as soon as they got the funding, like, he pulled triggers. Like, he was like calling actors and having them build sets and stuff. Like, it was like there wasn't enough time he was so afraid for the money to dry up that he just moved on it. He was like, we got to go, we got to make this. And I think that's where some of those cuts came into play. Mm-hmm. Like, we can't explain all of this. We can't go into the supernatural, even in the beginning part of him shopping around that script, he was like, it was ambitious, even for the amount of money that we were asking for. So I think he was forced to cut a lot out, and everything moved really fast. And he I can't help but appreciate the scrappy nature of that, I guess is where I'm going. Is he was like, let's fucking go. Let's get this shit done. Let's cut out what we don't need. Let's get into the edit. And then he's like, oh, fuck. Well, like this didn't work. That didn't work. But whatever, let's cut it together the best we can and give people a final product. And boom, here you are. And it's like I keep saying, it's not flawless, but I really love it. And I appreciate the effort, It's like the first thing to really be scary for a long time for me. So
nice.
I will die on this hill that I love this movie.
I love it. Okay. I would love to read this story as a book. So this is something like I would love the more if this was a book and I got more of the context and I got more, especially because, I've been reading a lot of books and of course watching movies. And I even wrote this on the top of my notes. I don't know why, but I did. And I put movies, horror movies have the option of visually stimulating you, being able to do jump scares, stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
But in books, you can't do jump scares. It's really like dread and shock. This movie is all dread and would make really well in a book, especially if you could have more of like, well, you're talking about the stuff that he cut. I get why he cut it for a movie, but in a book, it would have a great place and I would love to read it. So
totally.
I'm excited to know what you're rating this movie.
I'm going to have to decide as well. Me too. I'm also excited to see.
Tawny, thank you for bringing this movie and for being such a diehard advocate for this movie and bringing it to the table.
Dude, I'll fucking, like I said, I'm going to die on the hill for this movie. I've been telling everybody. Like I told you in our year in review episodes, I was talking to my cousins. I was like, have you guys seen Caveat? It's like the one fucking movie I can't stop thinking about that I watched last year, even though it came out in 2020. Like, you should fucking watch it. Are you ready?
What do you rate this movie? I'm so ready. I'm so ready.
I'm going to give this movie a 4.5.
Nice. Oh, shit.
Do I like it more than Midsummer, which I gave a 4.75? No. Midsummer was a masterpiece of a movie. I cannot deny. That shit was good. This has some flaws, but it was fucking low budget. So I'm trying to balance those things, it had some flaws, but I fucking love this movie, dude. I love it. The intention that was there, the ideas were there, the intention and the tension were there, right? It was so good. I just appreciate it on like a person-to-person level. I'm like, the fact that you went out and you fucking made this as your first feature film is so fucking good. There's so much. I just love it. And we haven't really stopped to talk about it. I told you a little bit about the bunny, but the practical effects and that woman, how fucking scary she was. I love it when somebody can take something. We've talked about this before, the uncanny valley, when it's not over the top scary, just like the Annabelle doll. We talked about that, whatever. I'm trying really hard not to repeat myself. And so I'm like voicing those concerns. But anyway, I just think that was so well done. And the holding on stuff for just a tad too long, like her peeking around the corner. Masterfully done. So scary. Love it. I'll die on this hill. I love this movie.
Dude. Okay. My score for this movie is a 4.9. That's right. 4.9. That's right. When you said 4.5 and you were, you know what? Those ratings are literally what we gave Sinister. You gave Sinister a 4.5 and I gave it a 4.9. So this is why I'm also very surprised I didn't like that Wicked movie.
Yeah.
I love this. Like, I feel like, I don't know, because I haven't seen it. I feel like The Witch is also going to have this atmosphere, this dark, creepy, I don't know. It's almost like a realistic, supernatural, because based in like witchcraft or I don't know. I don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about. I just like it. I like the look. I like the whole the losing your mind thing. And in this one, you don't know actually who has. I thought it was just creepy enough. That's why I love older movies so much, because they don't show you everything and it's scary. And they did this with the mom, with everything. So I thought that there were maybe some moments which made me say, okay, maybe I'm not going to go all the way for a 5, because then I looked at my 5s, and my 5s are like hardcore 5s. Yeah. So I really liked this movie. I liked the visual. I liked the acting. I didn't think the acting was bad at all. Yeah.
Wow, you've made me want to move up my score, dude. Like, I want to fucking.
Did you like it more than Sinister? Because you gave that score to Sinister.
Let's talk about Sinister real quick. That's the only movie that I look back on our scores, and I think every time, because I know this has happened to you before, where you keep looking at it and you're like, that's not right. I think I scored it way too high.
Yeah.
The
way you talk about it, yeah.
Yeah, I think I was trying really hard to hold on to that first time that I watched it, because it was really impactful. But the second time, all of that magic wore off. And I liked the scenes where there's the home movies. Outside of that, though, it really fucking fell apart. So I almost feel like I need to change that rating. I don't know what I'm going to change it to yet, but I rated that way too high.
Okay, so caveat would be your true 4.5 score.
Well, I don't know. You're making me question it. It's like, do I like it more? I think I do, dude. Actually, I think I like it. I think I like it more than Midsummer. Midsummer was a masterpiece, but did it stick with me? No. Was I scared to sleep at night? No.
No. I liked it more than Midsummer as well.
I did too. You're right. You're talking me up. I gave Hostel 2 a 4.75 and A Quiet Place, which I like.
Me too.
Yeah, I gotta go. I don't know. I gotta go higher than these. Fuck it. I'm gonna give it a 4.9.
You are?
But it's like, at that point, why not a 5? No, there's some flaws.
Because there's something.
Flaws.
Yeah, there's just that something that if it's like a feeling. When somebody says, what are your 5s? I can say these are my 5s and I feel solid. Like, I feel like whatever you come at me with, I'm not wavering. I'm a 5. With this one, I feel if someone was to ask me, I could waver. So that's the difference.
No, I'm here for it. 4.9, 4.9s to start off the year, almost a whole 5. That's good, though. That's good.
That's a really good way to start off the year. Super exciting.
Wow. I'm so fucking glad you liked it, dude. I was so scared. Yeah. I was like, Felicia might hate this fucking movie.
When it started, I was like, oh, I'm going to like this. I mean, but you never know what's happened. But that opening scene with her and that bunny, I'm like, fuck yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. And you know what else I love? And we've talked about this before, but not in this episode. I love a good what the fuck is happening movie. Like, I love to be thrown into a situation where I'm like, what the fuck? What the fuck is happening? What is going on? I love that feeling. And I think this movie just nails it. You're like, what? And your viewpoint changes 18 times. I mean, it's just great. I just love it. What a good fucking effort. Good showing from Damian McCarthy. I'm excited to see what else he has coming down the pipe. I watched all of his, not all of his. I'm getting a little drunk. I watched everything.
I'm his biggest fucking fan.
Damian. Be a guest. No, I watched a couple of his shorts, and you can see very clearly, like, one of them was a woman reaching her hand through a hole, right? And another one was like, there were these little wind-up toys happening, and you can kind of watch and see like all of the stuff that he loved that he brought into this movie, that I felt like in the end it worked.
Well, that was fucking awesome. Next week we're doing Martyrs, and I am very excited for that. We've wanted to watch that for a long time, and we're doing that with a podcast on Elm Street. So, having those guys on the show, so excited. And yeah, guys, Happy New Year. We love you.
Happy 2022.
Happy 2022. It was so awesome being on. I don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm tired. No, I'm not tired, actually.
So
I just
awesome being on our own podcast.
It was awesome being on the podcast. So connect with us. We love to connect with you. twochicksandhorrorflick.com. Our hub is Instagram. But if you go to twochicksandhorrorflick.com, you can find all the stuff we talk about. You know, we talk about merch, we talk about Discord, we talk about all kinds of stuff. You can find it there. You could also find it on Instagram. And what else, Tawny?
You can support the show by going to our Patreon or subscribing and giving us a review on whatever platform you're listening to us on. That would be awesome.
You can review on Spotify now.
Yeah, that's new.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. And we don't have any ratings or reviews. I looked. Because I wanted to read them on our year in review. I wanted to catch any ones that we missed, but I actually don't think it was available until now or a couple days ago or something. So yeah. But yeah, that's it. We love you and have a good night. No nightmares.